Hi everyone, welcome to this yin yoga session on sweet surrender. So how do we actually practice surrender? Especially if our tendency is to strive. A lot of us have been brought up in this goal-oriented and success-driven world. And we usually think in ways like, I'll relax when, or I'll be happy once. And I do it as well sometimes, thinking I need to finish a to-do list before I can relax, before I can sit down. But this is not life, because we will always have struggles and discomfort on our way. So if we keep on moving to this next moment, we're always running and we're not really living. So I would like to dedicate this practice on surrender. And I will do that by working with surrender poses, but also by focusing on the kidney meridian, which is connected to the emotion of fear. And fear is actually often the emotion that blocks us from surrendering, because there's not enough trust to surrender. Well, if you have a kidney meridian that is in balance, you'll experience more openness, gentleness, wisdom, and energy. So I would like to invite you to take a comfortable seat. Make sure that you sit in a comfortable position, whether you want to sit on your shins or you want to sit in cross-legged position. You can put your hands on your lap or on your knees. And keep your spine straight, your shoulders relaxed. Your crown of the head all the way up, your chin tucked in so that you can elongate your spine. You can keep your eyes closed or maybe lower them 45 degrees to the ground, and then pick a point in front of you that is not moving. And really take this time for yourself to arrive in the present moment. Noticing that you're in a space, in a room. Maybe noticing some sounds around you, or the air that touches your body. And then take your attention closer inwards to yourself, and feeling your sit bones on the cushion or the floor or chair. Your lower body parts touching the ground. Your hands on your knees or lap. Your spine rising all the way up to the sky. And your head on top of your shoulders and neck. And ask yourself, how do I feel right now? What is asking my attention at this moment? You don't need to think of the why something comes up, but just simply notice it. How does my body feel right now? Is there a specific sensation in the body that comes up? And how is my mind at the moment? What kind of thoughts are passing by? And how do I feel emotionally? Is there a specific mood right now? Just simply notice what is there and see if you can open up to it, embrace what is there. And slowly start expanding your attention again to the rest of your body. How does my body feel right now? Becoming aware of the room around you, the space surrounding your body. Expanding your attention even more, maybe even outside of your body. Hearing sounds again. And slowly starting to move your body. Stretch yourself out. And then gently open your eyes again. And we're going to move to the first pose, which is butterfly pose. And for that you sit on your sit bones with your feet on the ground, your knees bend. And you can slowly open your knees with the breath out. And see if you need some support underneath your knees. If you feel that you have too much pressure on your groins or your thighs, you can put a cushion or block underneath your knees. If you have a sensitive back, then maybe make sure to keep your neck and your spine neutral, so moving in with a straight spine up. Also, if you're rounding your back, you may want to put something underneath your sit bones, like a cushion or a folded blanket. And if you feel you have the space, you can slowly, gently fold down over your knees and ankles and to your natural edge of the body, the place where it feels natural for your body to stop first. You can also use some support underneath your head, like a cushion or a block. Make sure that you're comfortable enough so that you can release your muscles in this pose, because we're targeting the connective tissue here. And to target the connective tissue, we really need to disengage the muscles. So it's important that you listen to your body and go in the pose the way your body wants to. There should be some feeling of stretch or maybe even a bit discomfort, but still feel that it's comfortable enough for you to disengage the muscles, not to feel too tensed, because then we're not targeting the connective tissue but only the muscles. And if you found your own pose, your own comfortable place, and slowly start surrendering to the ground, disengaging your muscles one by one, using the breath to release any discomfort that you feel in your body. With the breath in, going to that place, guiding your breath into that place. And with the breath out, slowly releasing anything that you don't need anymore. with yin yoga, but also with yoga in general, we really listen to what our body is telling us. We don't use our body to get into the pose. We use the pose to get into our body, to become connected with the body again, to listen, to be in the present moment of what your body is telling you. So we're not trying to achieve a better pose. Or really see if you can open up to imperfection, releasing expectations and striving. So even if our bodies are maybe not going so deep, or maybe moving a bit weirdly, we listen to our bodies and do exactly what it's telling us. Going to stay like this for 3 more breaths, taking a deep breath in through the nose and sighing out through the mouth. 2 more times. Deeply in through the nose, filling up your lungs, and sighing out through the mouth. And after the 3rd breath, you can take your hands next to your body and slowly push yourself up, using your hands to put your knees back to the middle, stretching out your legs, and maybe lean back on your hands in this comfortable pose, or if you want to, you can come down all the way on your back, really enjoying the moment, feeling the effects of the pose on your body. Maybe you feel some openness here and there, some energy moving around the spine and around the hips and groins, which were the target areas of this pose. Noticing that you're in this lying position, all your body parts touching the ground. And slowly start moving your fingers again and your feet. And when you're ready, you can move to one of your sides, pushing yourself up and moving on your belly into Sphinx pose. With your lower arms on the ground in a 90-degree position with your shoulders, make sure that your elbows are in front of your shoulders. You'll have a curve around the lower back. And the more you go with your elbows to the front, the less intense it is. And the more you go to the back, closer to your shoulders with your elbows, the more intense it becomes. And for some of you, it might be better to just lay on the ground if you have a very sensitive back, like a hernia. But for all others, you can either come to your elbows or maybe even come with your elbows on the cushion. And this is even more intense on the lower back. And you can keep your head straight, or you can move it down. Maybe even use some support underneath your head if you want to. And also in this pose, it's important to disengage the muscles. So if you want to, you can Squeeze in your buttocks and your legs very, very hard. And then slowly let go so you can feel the difference between engaged and disengaged muscles. So feel the lower back, the area of pressure there. And this may feel a bit vulnerable to some of you. This is not a pose that we do regularly every day. It may feel as if we're doing something wrong to the lower back. And see if you can trust that this pose is actually healthy to you. And slowly surrender into it. Melting down. Melting your muscles around the lower back. Around the buttocks. And the entire legs. And some of you might feel they have enough space to come into seal pose, putting your palms on the floor, stretching out your legs. And move your hands more to the front, depending if you want to have less sensations in the lower back, or more to the back if you want to increase the sensations in the lower back. And if you want to, you can move your head to the right and left very slowly to release the neck muscles. We're going to stay in this pose or in Sphinx pose for 3 more deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and sighing out through the mouth. And after the 3rd pose, you can very slowly move on your belly again, resting your face on one of your cheeks, or maybe on your forehead, whatever feels most comfortable to you. And taking your hands to the back. Again, giving yourself some time to feel the effects of the pose, specifically around the lower back. What do you feel right there, right now? And slowly start moving up into a dragonfly pose. So make sure you sit with your sit bones on a folded blanket or a cushion with your legs wide spread. And some of you might feel some tension around the inner knees. Then maybe it's good to put something underneath the knees, like a bolster or a block. And then take your hands up, and with the breath out, you slowly fold forward on your right leg. And again, make sure that you pick the place that is comfortable enough for you to be able to melt down into it. To melt your muscles around the target area, which is the left hip, the spine, the back of your right leg. Really surrendering into it. And surrender is also about being in the present moment, letting go of the past and the future, about things that happened in the past, or ideas that we have about the future. really living our lives now instead of trying to run to the future or try to go back in the past, which is not possible anyway. So see if you can be in the present moment by feeling your body. What is it telling you right now? Or if you prefer, you can focus on the breath, how it's moving your body, how it's moving your chest and your belly. It's entering through the nostrils and also leaving the body through the nostrils. And every time you get distracted, your mind goes somewhere else, like in thoughts, mental chatter, or sounds. Just simply notice that you're somewhere else without being mad or disappointed in yourself. We're not striving here. And then simply come back to observing the breath or the body sensations again. I'm going to stay like this for 3 more breaths. Breathing in through the nose, filling up your lungs, and then sighing out through the mouth. And after the 3rd breath, you can slowly start pushing yourself up with your hands. Just giving yourself some time before you're going to move to the other side, taking our hands up and with the breath out, folding over our left leg. In this dragonfly pose on both sides. And it may well be that some discomfort comes up, whether it's mental, physical, or emotional. And see if you can learn the place of comfortable discomfort. Just seeing if you can embrace anything that comes up, whether you like it or not. And each moment we have the chance to practice acceptance. We have the choice to follow our impulse of frustration, fear, or anger, or we take a deep breath and surrender into it. And we don't get it right or perfect immediately, and even the feeling of discomfort may still be there. But we just practice acceptance and surrender. If we're giving ourselves the option, the choice to practice acceptance. And if at any moment in time you feel really too discomfortable or tensed, or you really feel you need to move, that's perfectly fine. Just see if you can first notice what is happening in your body. And only then take the conscious choice, I'm going to move out of the pose. Or maybe even lay down on my back, finish the pose. Giving yourself the option to surrender. And we're going to stay like this for 3 more deep breaths. And after the 3rd breath, you can take your hands next to your knees, push yourself up slowly. And with your hands, support your knees, put them back into the middle. And then move into a child pose with your knees against each other, with your forehead on the ground and your hands to the back. And you can slowly start moving again. And take your hands next to your sides, push yourself up into a seated position. We're going to the next pose, which is settle. And for that, you put your sit bones in between your heels, maybe taking the flesh out from your calves a bit. If it's too tough on your knees, if you feel some pain in the knees, then maybe you want to sit on top of a cushion. So take a cushion in between your legs and you sit on top of it. And then you can take your hands to the back and lean backward to feel the stretch of your front body. But if you feel you have the space, you can go to the 2nd variation, which is going on your elbows. Maybe putting your head to the back. If you're not sitting on a cushion, but you sit with your sit bones in between your legs, then you do the same. But you have then a bit more space to maybe go down a bit further. So this is the 1st variation on your hands. The 2nd one is on your elbows. And the 3rd one. And it's only if you really feel you have the space, you can move on your back. You can take your hands next to your body. And if you feel you have some pain in the legs, then maybe you want to stretch out one leg and do the settle pose only on one side. That's a bit less strong on the knees. So really there's a couple of variations that you can do. And see if you can really tune into your body what is good for you right now. And if you feel some stretch around the front legs and the front body, then that's already enough. You don't need to do more. It's really not about achieving a great pose or striving to be better. Actually, when I try to achieve something really badly, I become so fixed on the end result. Often it doesn't work at all, or I become too tense. And instead, if I just follow how life unfolds, and just following this flow of life and just surrender into it, things come naturally. And this is also how water behaves. Water flows through a river, and if it finds some obstacles on the way, like a rock or a tree, it will go around it. So find this quality of water within you. By surrendering into the pose, you can actually find the space you're looking for. Just flow naturally, without pushing, without needing or wanting. And there's really no need to go very deep into a pose. As long as your body feels the effects of it, it's enough. And this may very well be sitting up with your hands to the back, instead of lying on the ground. And notice where your attention is now. Wherever it is, just notice it. Simply observe it without any judgment towards yourself. And when you notice it was somewhere else, then gently, with loving kindness towards yourself, revert it back to observing your body sensations or the breath moving the body. And very slowly, you can take your elbows to the ground. Make sure that you engage your belly muscles and push yourself up on your elbows. Again up, then take your hands in front of your knees and push yourself up again, really leaning on your hands so that you are gentle towards your knees. And come to a seated position, and from there you gently move to the belly on the ground, with one of your cheeks on the ground, or maybe you want to put your forehead on the ground, whatever feels more comfortable to you. Then you slowly push yourself up again into all fours. Make sure that your knees are aligned with your hip and your wrists with your shoulders. And then take your left knee in between your hands. Stretch out your right leg in a straight line to the back with your feet on the ground. Then take a cushion or a block and put it in between the gap underneath the left hip. And then you want to maybe stay up like this, giving your body a bit of time to adjust. But if you want to, you can also slowly move on your elbows if you feel you have the space. And you can keep your neck straight, or you may want to put it down. You can also use some support underneath your head here, like a block or a cushion. Make sure that you don't have any pain in the knee. You may want to move around a bit with the leg, the left leg. And if you feel you have really even more space, you can put your forehead on the ground, stretch out your arms. And once you've found a comfortable place for yourself, see if you can allow your body to sink into gravity, to sink into the ground, to slowly melt down. And if you come across some discomfort, know that you always have the breath to help you. Guiding your breath into the place of discomfort. And with the sigh out, breathing it out, releasing it. And if at any point in time you feel you have pain that is very sharp, you can really pinpoint it in a specific place, then maybe you want to move out a bit of the pose, because that should not be happening. You can use this mantra of surrender. I am exactly where I should be, doing exactly what I should be doing. I am exactly where I should be, doing exactly what I should be doing. You can repeat that mantra internally if you want to. And we're going to stay like this for 3 more breaths. Deep breath in through the nose and sighing out through the mouth. And after your 3rd breath, you can slowly push yourself up on your elbows, then on your hands. And stretching out your right leg in a counter pose. Really flexing your leg, feeling the stretch along the back of your leg. Then coming back on all 4s. Moving into the other side now. So taking your right knee in between your arms. Stretching out your left leg in a straight line to the back. And taking a cushion, putting it in the gap between your right hip and the floor, if you have a gap. And again, you can either stay up as a variation, Maybe this is already enough for you. But if you feel you have the space, you can move to the second variation on your elbows. And also give your body some time to adjust here. Don't go too fast because your body needs to know that it can trust to disengage the muscles. So only when you feel you have the space, you go down all the way on your forehead in the third variation. But again, please listen to your body and only do that variation which feels good to you. And this can be quite a tough pose, you may have noticed on the other side. You can feel quite some stretch, maybe along the left hip flexor, the right thigh, the groins. And see if you can relax into it, knowing that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. You can use the mantra, I give up the need to control. I give up the need to control. You can slowly repeat that in your mind if you want to. And we're going to stay like this for 3 more breaths. Breathing in deeply through the nose and sighing out through the mouth. You can even use a sound with it if you want. Sighing is really the sign of release, of giving up control, of surrender. So take a couple of deep breaths in and sighing out through the mouth. And after the 3rd breath, you can slowly push yourself up again, stretching out your right leg, flexing it to the back. And feeling the stretch along the back of your right leg. And then slowly through a seated position, moving on to the back where we'll meet together on our backs. And see if you can notice any difference in your body with how it felt during the pose and now. We're going to slowly take our knees to our chests. You can embrace your hands around your knees. And then slowly move your knees to the left. If you have a gap in between your knees and the ground, then you can put a cushion underneath your knees for support. And if you want to make the pose stronger, you can put your right leg on top of your left leg. And you stretch out your right hand to the side in a 90-degree angle. And either stay with your face neutral or move it to the right as well in this full spinal twist. If you're pregnant, then it's better not to do this pose. These twists are not good for pregnancy. If that's the case for you, then just take a lot of cushions and put them underneath your knees so that you only twist your hips instead of your belly. So really stack a lot of cushions on top of each other and then put your knees against it. This spinal twist is great for detoxifying your body. It really squeezes out anything that you don't need in your body. It's as if you're squeezing out a wet towel. And for me, this is one of the most relaxing and nice poses. It's such a treat for your body. We should do this every day. And very slowly, you can take your knees back to the middle. Maybe massaging your lower back a bit by moving to the left and right with your knees. And very slowly moving your knees to the right. Again, if you need some support underneath your knees, just take a cushion or a couple of cushions. Also, if you feel you have a gap in between your left shoulder and the ground, then you can also put some support underneath the knees. Stretch out your left arm to the side. And again, you can keep your neck neutral, or you can move with your head to the left in a full body spinal twist. And always do the same variation on both sides. So if you've stacked your knees on top of each other on one side, then also do it on the other side. And the same applies to if you've crossed your legs on top of each other. So it's important to keep the balance in the body. And very slowly you can take your knees back to the middle, embrace them, maybe even making circles with your knees to really massage your lower back. Give your knees a nice hug. Embrace yourself before slowly moving in final savasana with your legs hip width or mat width apart. Your arms a bit further away from the body with your palms facing up into the sky as a sign of openness and receiving. And chin tucked in so that your neck is elongated. And slowly surrendering to this total relaxation, knowing that you don't need to do anything anymore. This is a moment for you. You with your body on the ground, on the mat. Noticing the support of the ground, which is strong and solid. And is able to support you, to hold you up. So you can allow yourself to this sweet surrender.